Coming up on today's Alabama Football Report, the similar topics that we'll be discussing until Alabama has a new head coach. We will discuss all the latest rumors out there around the potential Nick Saban replacements. The guy that many had viewed, including us, as the number one target option off the board. Now where does Alabama go? A lot of pressure on Greg Byrne here, the Alabama athletic director, if you have faith in him to make a good hire, as he did for the basketball job, which does carry different expectations, I suppose. Then, like today's video right now, send the good vibes for a big and successful hire for Alabama football. So Dan Lanning is going to stay at Oregon, despite the immediate reports of, hey, Lanning's going to be a top target for this job. The clearly fake stories, reports, insiders, you're going to have a lot of that stuff, by the way, out there in the next 24, 48, 70 hours, whatever. Lanning is not taking the job. He has announced he is staying at Oregon. He was not ever in Tuscaloosa. All the insiders who were reporting that got that wrong. Might have been a train of one guy said it, therefore everyone else followed it, and they all got it wrong in the end. That's why the sources game is dangerous, especially in college football, because, man, there's a lot more wrong than you would normally see. So take Lanning off your board of Alabama head coach candidates. Now, here's what Greg Byrne had said. Previously, when he announced Saban was retiring, or the program did, I should say, as with any coaching search, our goal is to be thorough but expedite. Our ideal candidate will be strong in recruiting and relationship building, player development, excel in X's and O's, and have the overall ability to lead this historic program, which, by the way, means be great at everything. There will be plenty of rumors out there during this process. The next time I talk publicly will be to announce our new coach. If you don't hear it from me, don't believe it. Roll Tide. Here's what John Talty tweeted and also mentioned for 24/7 Sports, by the way. The Alabama team was told Wednesday that the school hoped to have Saban's replacement in place in the next 72 hours. Sources told Talty and others for 24/7 Sports. And that does track with what Greg Byrne has done in previous hires for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Remember, Avery Johnson back in 2019 fired. 3 days later, Nate Oates hired. What a great move that has been for Alabama basketball. Dana Duckworth had stepped down on 5/19. That is the gymnastics coach. Ashley Johnston then hired just over 72 hours later. When the baseball season ended last year, amid all that scandal, Rob Vaughn was then hired in less than 48-ish hours from that time frame there. So it is very clear that Greg Byrne has a history, specifically at Alabama, of working quickly when hired. But specifically for the Oregon miss. When a miss or not, you know how coaching works, right? No one gets offered a job until after they've already signed it all, because that's how it goes, right? Are you disappointed Dan Lanning is staying at Oregon? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comments section. Some other coaches we'll discuss here. Lane Kiffin is also a notable one. Now, his son is actually in the hospital right now. He had not been tweeting for hours, which was intriguing. Like, the news breaks, and Kiffin, who he loves being online, and it's pretty funny, frankly, was kind of interesting. Then he went on a tweeting spree, doing all this great stuff, praising both Nick Saban and Pete Carroll, etc. Which, I mean, how can you blame him there? It's Kiffin. He has the ties to the organization. He's part of what I call the consensus six, right? That every single board that was out there had the same six coaches on there. It was Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, it's Mike Norvell, it's Steve Sarkisian, it's Dabo Sweeney, and Kalen DeBoer. That's the consensus six for Alabama. Now, Ben Flanagan, translating what Greg McElroy said on one of the Alabama radio stations, Kiffin ain't an option. He's out. He also suggested there's some bad blood between D'Amico Ryans and Alabama over the treatment of former defensive coordinator, interim head coach Joe Keens. By the way, I will make note for the D'Amico Ryans part, which we were kind of the first ones to mention, by the way. I would take full credit for that one. He also had bad blood between Houston and the Texans, the way his knee injury was handled, and that relationship ended up being okay in the end. In the end, I'm not sure Lane Kiffin ends up being your guy. I'll also be honest with you. I don't know who it's going to be. There's a non-zero chance it's a wacky off-the-board hire for Alabama that nobody saw coming since, no one really saw Saban's retirement coming. He was working up until he walked up and said, actually, I'm going to retire now. He spent a full day working. He didn't do like that. I turned on my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to hang out here and cash them checks. He worked, interviewed people, and then said, bye, I'm out of here. So we'll see what happens on this front. There will be a lot of rumors. We're going to discuss all of those rumors as they come in. We'll call stuff out when needed. Funnily enough, today's video was going to be Dan Lanning is not in Tuscaloosa. He was not. We had it on really good authority. He was not there at all. And, well, then, it ended up obviously coming true in the end. More coaching buzz to come, but first, we have Alabama jerseys on sale for you guys from our friends over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. If you want to get a 6 Saban jersey, not saying it's the worst idea out there, or whatever number you want to assign to Nick Saban, I suppose. Chatsports.com/ or maybe 24 when he retired, who knows. Chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. Colin Cowherd also tweeting this out yesterday evening. 2 sources confirmed to me late this afternoon that Bama Athletic Director Greg Byrne, knowing that Nick Saban retiring was always a possibility, had his eyes on Kalen DeBoer for some time. Byrne is highly respected. This one has been linked quite a few times as well. DeBoer's notable jobs, he's kind of in a weird path. He was an NAIA head coach who had a lot of success, but NAIA does not translate to Alabama. That's why he took the Southern Illinois OC job. He's had a rapid rise, right? SIU OC, Eastern Michigan OC, Fresno State OC, Indiana OC for a year, great success, goes to Fresno, has a lot of success there, then jumps to Washington. What I'm curious here from Cowherd's report, and Cowherd's sourcing is not the best. There's a lot of misses on that front there. Define some time, because DeBoer's stock jumped this year in particular. Like if you had told me Saban would have retired last year, I don't think DeBoer is really on this candidate list, right? So what is some time to me? I would love to know. Did a great job at Washington. Did a really good job at Fresno State. There's also, I do think regionality matters, even as it becomes less and less of a thing in college football. I think it still matters a little bit. This has been a North and a West Coast guy his entire time. Like Southern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Indiana, Washington. He hasn't really done a lot in the South. And it's Alabama, but you have to build those relationships too. So would you hire Kalen DeBoer? H for hire, P for pass. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section right now. Let's continue along here in the consensus 6, if you will. We're going to skip over Dabo Swinney today. I did see the Bama fans chanting anyone but Dabo. Mike Norvell has been mentioned as a candidate by many, and Brett McMurphy again mentioning him today. And I don't think that was unintentional from McMurphy. I do wonder if the state of Florida might try to secede from the College Football Union if FSU gets left out of the CFP in favor of Alabama, and then Bama takes away their head coach. Which, as an aside, Deion Sanders does not make sense for Alabama. I will stand on that one. Oh, he might make sense for FSU, though, given it's his alma mater. That one would be a very... This job could have major ramifications across the board. Meanwhile, Steve Sarkisian continuously linked as a candidate. Quinn Ewers announced today he is returning to Texas for another season. I would lean towards saying that Ewers would not have declared, or would not have chosen to not declare, he can change his mind, of course, if Sark was not going to come back. So, again, I don't think this is necessarily going to be an easy, boom, it's done job. Maybe, I think Greg Byrne's going to work quickly, but I think there does have to be some convincing involved because you're replacing the guy. And you're aiming at the tier 1 coaches that would really never leave for any other job except maybe this one. That makes it challenging. Who do you think ends up being hired as the next Alabama football head coach? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Now, there has already been one notable decommitment, 5-star wide receiver Ryan Williams. Well, he did decommit. Maybe Auburn fans will end up being right for reasons they didn't expect to be right here. Remember, Saban has departed, and Holloman Wiggins is gone. He's now at A&M, and now the two apparent leading contenders here for Ryan Williams are both Auburn and Texas A&M. I think A&M might make more sense for him, by the way, because Auburn has all of these receivers already. I don't know if they need another one necessarily. This might not be the last departure, and you know that every other college football coach, whoever doesn't take the Bama job, is going to be focused on trying to poach, and tampering will occur. We know how college football works. This will open up a 30-day transfer window with Nick Saban retiring. Coaching changes do give you that month-long window. The one-time transfer rule, guys can play immediately at new schools, and athletes can transfer in the conference, by the way. So all those other SEC schools, they are going to try to poach and steal Bama players if they can. Who do you think ends up hopping in the portal? I'm not sure much news will be done until after the head coach is announced. And, his first job is going to be keeping all of his guys on that have already on the roster because it's a good roster. You're not going to want to do, full sale portal shuffling in the same way that Colorado did, for example. Sound off for me in the comments section right now. We're going to keep you guys covered on this coaching search. Expect at least one video per day plus shorts on whatever is going on around the Alabama football head coaching search. The rumors will be hot and heavy. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now.